In this video, we're going to talk about the Infernal Showdown and the clash for Hell's Throne Intensifies. Alright, my brothers and my sisters from another mister, this is a comic book review of Spawn, issue number 348, brought to you by RatedComics. Let's get to it. So previously in Spawn, the members of the Scorch are taken as prisoners. Jessica Priest and Spawn decide to go their separate ways, each with their own mission and plan to regain control of the throne. So now in the previous issue, we left off with Nyx and her team, Cyborg and Jim Downing and Overkill, duking it out with Sin. But she's made a terrible mistake. She's allowed herself to hope. Defeating Sin was going to be a monumental challenge. But there was a moment, minutes into her attack, where she started to believe that they might actually have a chance. And then that moment passes because their nightmare begins as Sin begins to take the upper hand. What none knew and what none of them realized is that Sin's powers were constantly evolving as he consumed more and more necroplasm. The Heap learned that lesson firsthand in its last seconds of life as Sin unleashes all of his necroplasm at hand and the Heap just can't handle it. So in the moment of high dramatic despair, Nyx is a hail to the nah. You about to see these hands. But Nyx hits Sin with everything she has. But the truth is, few things in the universe could stop Sin right now, and that wasn't enough. So Nyx gets mollywopped, just backhanded or something, all the way across the Hellverse. And it's a crushing realization for Nyx. Now Overkill comes in and tries to buy some time, and the thing is, promised reinforcements sent by Cataclysm are still nowhere close enough to help. It'll be too late if they do arrive. Nyx tries to steady herself, but she's feeling way too much pain in her body, and her body is failing before being blasted into darkness. Now Sin takes care of Overkill and just puts an end to that, bro. In the road below, Wanda Blake and Spawn reunite, and this is a reference in the editorial notes of King Spawn issue number 29, which comes out next year in January, which we will cover on that channel. So now that Wanda and Al Simmons have reunited, time moves differently along the road below. Now while only a few days have passed for Wanda and Al and Wanda have been on its path for months, with no guarantee it won't be years or even decades before they reach their destination. But a selfish part of Spawn would love to stay here forever, just the two of them to rekindle. But Wanda gives Spawn that realization that once you're on that throne, what happens next? And Al's like, well, hopefully I can end this war, then with its power, bring you back to life. I'm not asking about that, Al. I'm asking what happens to you. And Al's like, well, I have to stay here and rule hell to prevent others from exploiting it. And Wanda's like, there's no way to pass it on to someone else. No, says Spawn. Once someone claims the throne, the only way of removing them is by killing them. But with the throne's power, they won't even get close enough to do that. But the longer you sit on the throne, the more it corrupts you. That's what I've been told. Can you handle it, Spawn? And Al is like, I'll have to. But if you don't, I will. I won't have a choice, and I'm not about to let anyone else claim it, so get off my back. And there it is, the anger. It's always been a part of Al Simmons, but he seems to have less control over it now. And ashamed of that, Spawn is like, look, I'm sorry. There's just no other way to fix this, Wanda. I wish there was. And Wanda coughs. She's like, it's alright. Journeying in this path is brutal for all travelers, but especially for a soul from heaven. Every moment here is agony for her, and it's getting worse. Seeing her in pain is torture for Al. So Al tells her, let's keep it moving. He trusts Wanda's help, but the thing is, it never crosses his mind she might be here for her own reasons. Maybe we'll get more of that in King Spawn issue 29. So Sin recovers, and obviously he recovers because he lays hands on all of them and just tells them, look, man, you guys are kids trying to mess with an adult, you know what I mean? So he gets back and he asks his commanders, or he asks his people, what happened to Lyca's blade, and how about Cataclysm? How did he do? And they're like, ooh, why'd you gotta ask that question right away? What, did you hear me? Well, I'm afraid the battle has not gone as we hoped, my lord. So now back to Nyx and Jim Downing and the rest of them. She awakens from her dark slumber. She looks to see if Jim is okay, but the Green World doctors tell Nyx that his condition is improving, but it's too early to say if he will make a full recovery. We've been told you owe your survivor to a phalanx of our soldiers who swarmed in and kept Sin at bay long enough to get you out of here. And Nyx is like, okay, that's cool, but what about the others? I'm afraid you and Jim are the only survivors. No, that can't be. We had a lot of heat down there, says Nyx. I need to speak with the Emerald Parliament. Now, can you help me with that? No, says the Green World doctors, you're still recovering. You need to rest. Can it wait till we get back? Get back? No. Look, listen, girl, like we sustained a lot of casualties here, and they decided it was best for us to withdraw from this stuff. No, we can't walk away, not from Sin. If we walk away, then he wins. The Green World doctor's like, I'm sorry, but that's the orders we've been given, and we're gonna evacuate in the next few hours. So back to Sin, hordes of these creatures appear in the outskirts of Sin's camps, hours after his return. They're mindless beasts that, once they're set on the path, they're gonna do everything they can relentlessly to get there. And after being checked for booby traps by Sin and his crew, they're brought to Sin. He knows what's coming. Cataclysm's force had been far greater than their initial intel had suggested, so survivors from Sin's side reported Cataclysm fought bravely until the very end. But other than Sin himself, no single warrior could have turned the tide. So when they examine the young man's remains, the morticians find evidence of extreme torture while Cataclysm had still been alive. Bones broken, limbs mutilated. It had not been a quick or merciful death, and Cataclysm was sending Sin a very stark message. And Sin gets pissed. He's like, we're taking the Infernal Keep tonight. Let's go. So now back to Gunseeker Spawn and Medieval Spawn with all these brimstones getting, hauled in this truck. So Gunseeker Spawn's like, how much longer would this take? We're wasting time. And this brimstone's like, if I were you, I wouldn't be in such a hurry. I'd enjoy whatever time we got left. Wasn't asking you because I'm hunting my own prey. And Gunseeker Spawn, who he's hunting, is the one who helped kill his sister. Sin's name is at the top of his list. Gunseeker Spawn tells him, you guys doing all this, you're saving me the trouble of tracking him down my damn self. But that's if they get to their destination. So gunshots come in. They don't know where the gunshots are coming from. The bullets have been dipped in Angel's blood, and the Scorch, Monolith, Reaper, Redeemer, Hunt, and our girl She-Spawn coming in, ready to lay some hands and throw them blows. And Brimstone's like, we gotta get out of here, what's going on out there? So Gunseeker Spawn's like, okay, this is my time to act. Enough of this playing prisoner part. Gets a knife, stabs the guy in the chest, kicks him out the truck. We're done here, says Gunseeker Spawn. Time to get out of here. And Medieval Spawn's like, okay, say less. So as they go to work on these fools and they tear them up apart, literally, She-Spawn asks one of the Brimstones, the Infernal Keep, how much longer till we get there? Soon enough, but who's gonna stop Sin's troops? His final siege has begun. By the time we get there, he'll be on the throne already. Well, at least he's not on the throne now, and we don't stop until he stops us. Don't start none, there won't be none. Well, this is gonna be something. So meanwhile in heaven, it turns out that Clown's invasion of heaven was successful. So one of the angels tells him, please don't do this. The dead zones are too unstable right now. The portals aren't meant to have so many going through at the same time. It could cause irreparable damage. Your side started this, said Clown. I try to stop them, says the angel. I swear, this will only make things worse. Well, you needn't to worry about that because you won't be around for that, and just rips his head from where it stands. That's how Clown does it. And the Forsaken's like, look, I brought you here to solve problems, not mess it up. Well, I'll watch your tone if I were you, says the Clown. Given how events are accelerating and Sin's proximity to the throne, there's much ground to make up. So you stay here like a good boy, distract your heavenly brothers, do that, and I'll send you a souvenir. Your brother Sin's head. And that's where we end this issue of the Infernal Showdown and the Clash for Hellstone Intensifies and Spawn issue number 348. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. What I really find interesting here is how the events of Spawn, King Spawn, Gunseeker Spawn, and the Scorched, even though the Scorched are on Earth right now, about to fight the Viscerator, one of Violators or the Clown sisters, it's cool how all this is tying together, and that's a very tough task for Todd McFarlane and gang, but if they do it right, it'll be very, very, very sweet, like high school prom night or something. So link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection, and also don't forget to check out RatedComics.com to add some really cool limited print Rated Comics exclusives to your comic book collection. Lastly, this video is sponsored by coffee, so if you'd like to buy your boy a cup of coffee, link in description, or donate to the Super Thanks. But the greatest compliment you guys can do is by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Thank you again for watching. Until next time.